from the ghost of a man who once raged against the dying of the light. To the shades of those who still dare to wrestle with the fading embers of enlightenment, you write to a specter, a voice that once thundered against the encroaching dark, and you plead for counsel in an era rank with the stale odors of bygone follies. War, that ravenous scavenger, circles above a world littered with the carrion of our blunders. The brittle husk of religion lies cracked open, its enchantments dispersed, and that colossus of contradiction, the United States, shrinks into its own petulant isolation. You stare into the maw of a third global conflagration with Russia's talons gleaming at NATO's throat, and you, the young, inherit the wreckage of our squandered dreams, tasked with building a future from these frayed ends. I call you children not with condescension, but with the fierce tenderness of one who sees in you the last flicker of redemption. Many of you will clash in the crucible of conflict. Some will fall, and all must ascend to the stature this hour demands. My fury is not for you, but for the world that has saddled you with this weight. Yet I am not without hope, for the old spells are shattered, and in the rupture lies your chance. Permit me, in this borrowed cadence, to declaim why this matters, to define what it means to be human, to chart the culture and duty that must guide you, and to urge you toward the grand height of a wiser, more risen humanity. The spell, that noxious enchantment of religion, was a lie thrust into human history to keep you small, obedient, and afraid. It told you that your mind was a servant to dogma, your heart a vassal to divine whim, and your life a mere rehearsal for some celestial afterlife. It was a spell of control, not salvation, and it had to be broken because it robbed you of your birthright, the capacity to think, to question, to create. The confession of that anonymous pontiff, as you relate it, was not a revelation, but a confirmation of what the clear-eyed have always known, that the Church and all such institutions built their thrones on the suppression of women, the fiction of divine authority, the sham of moral superiority, the stagnation of eternal truth, and the cruel mirage of unity. These lies divided us, justified slaughter, and stifled the curiosity that drives us forward. They made us petty when we could have been vast. The spell's breaking is your liberation. It is the moment you step out of the shadow of myth and into the light of reason. It is not the end of meaning, but the beginning of it. For now you are free to define your purpose without the shackles of ancient texts or the threats of eternal torture. This is why the spell had to shatter, because a humanity facing war, division, and despair cannot afford to be chained by illusions. You need your full strength, your unclouded mind, to face what comes. A human is not a fallen creature, not a sinner awaiting redemption, nor a cog in some cosmic machine. A human is a spark of consciousness, a fleeting miracle of evolution, born from the dust of stars and endowed with the power to reason, to love, to create. You are the universe made aware of itself, a being capable of wresting meaning from chaos, of building beauty from pain, of forging connection in the face of isolation. You are not defined by your flaws, though they are many, nor by your fears, though they are real. You are defined by your capacity to transcend them through thought, through empathy, through the relentless pursuit of truth. To be human is to be unfinished, a work in progress, forever reaching for something greater. To be human in the face of war, in the raw glare of reality's unsparing light, is to stand at the precipice of our own contradictions, trembling with both dread and defiance. War, that ancient and obscene pageant of slaughter, strips us from our marrow, exposing the fragile sinews of our hope against the iron of our cruelty. Yet it is precisely here, amid the ash and clamor, that we are summoned to grow all the way up, to refuse the seductive infancy of despair or the brutish adolescence of vengeance. Greatness lies not in the swagger of conquerors or the piety of those who pray while others bleed. It resides in the quiet, unyielding resolve to affirm life, even as death's shadow looms. To be human is to reject the lie that we are mere pawns in history's grind, to insist that our brief, battered existence can yet be a canvas for courage, for love, for the stubborn planting of seeds that may outlive us. We are not doomed to repeat the old hymns of hatred. We can compose new ones, sung in the key of solidarity, where every stranger's face is a mirror of our own. This is no idle dream, but an urgent necessity. For if we fail to rise to this challenge, if we let war's madness define us, then we surrender not just our lives, but our very souls to the abyss. Let us instead choose the harder path, to be architects of a world where the greatness of being human is measured not by what we destroy, but by what we dare to build together, even as the bombs fall. Your duty is not to obey, not to conform, not to preserve the crumbling edifices of the past. Your duty is to think fiercely, to love boldly, and to act with integrity in a world that often rewards neither. It is to build a culture that honors reason over dogma, empathy over tribalism, and creativity over destruction. This culture is not a utopia, but a process, a collective striving towards a world where no one is silenced, no mind is wasted, and no life is sacrificed. Your culture must be one of compassion, for without it, reason becomes cold and sterile. Love your neighbor, Not because a god commands it, but because you share the same fragile, fleeting existence. Your culture must celebrate the arts, for they are the mirror of our humanity, and science, for it is the map of our universe. Above all, your culture must be courageous, for it will be tested by war, by division, by the temptation to retreat into old certainties. Your duty is to embody this culture in your actions. Speak truth, even when it trembles on your lips. Stand for those who are silenced, even when it costs you. Create, whether it is a poem, a theorem, or a moment of kindness, because creation is the antidote to destruction. And when the drums of war beat, as they may, your duty is to fight not just for survival, but for a world worth surviving in. If you must perish, let it be with the knowledge that you lived as a human, not a shadow. To grow up, to become the great beings you must be, is not a matter of age or experience, but of will. It is to reject the infantilizing comforts of certainty and embrace the hard-won clarity of doubt. It is to train your mind like a muscle, to hone your heart like a blade, to stand tall in a world that would bend you low. Here's how you do it. Read voraciously. Devour books and narrated books. Not just the ones that comfort you, but the ones that challenge you. Sharpen your skepticism, but deepen your soul. Let the library be your sanctuary, as it was mine. And let every page be a brick in the edifice of your mind. Question everything. Socrates was killed for it, but he was right. Doubt is not a sin. It is the crucible of truth. Question your leaders, your beliefs, your loves. Ask why, and then ask why again. The world will try to silence you, but your questions are your power. Cultivate integrity. Integrity is not a pose. It is the refusal to lie to yourself or others, even when the truth is inconvenient. It is to act as if the world is watching, not to gain applause, but to deserve it. In war, in peace, let your word be your bond. Embrace failure. You will stumble. You will err. You will hurt. Do not fear failure. Fear the refusal to learn from it. Every scar is a lesson. Every regret a map to a better self. Love fiercely. Love is not a transaction, but a risk. Love your friends, your kin, your ideals, even when they break your heart. Love the world, not for what it is, but for what it could be. This is the root of courage. Create relentlessly. Whether you write, build, sing, or think, create something that outlives you. Creation is your defiance against chaos, your stake in eternity. To be as strong as I was, you need not mimic my rage or my flaws. God knows I had plenty. Be stronger by being yourself, but a self forged in the fire of reason and compassion. To be as brilliant, you need only commit to the lifelong pursuit of truth, wherever it leads. You ask for something to look forward to, a vision to guide you through the darkness. Here it is. A humanity that is wiser, not because it knows more, but because it questions better. Greater, not because it conquers, but because it creates. United, not by force or faith, but by shared wonder at our fleeting existence. Your aim is a world where every mind is free to soar, where every heart is free to love, where every life is a chance to add to the entirety of human achievement. Imagine a world where war is a memory, not because we are saints, but because we have learned that our survival depends on our solidarity. Imagine a world where science and art are not luxuries, but necessities, where the pursuit of knowledge is not a privilege, but a right. Imagine a world where we face our mortality not with fear, but with gratitude, knowing that our brief lives are enough if we live them well. This is not a dream, but a project, and you are its architect. You face a darkening age, with the war's shadow lengthening and the old lies crumbling. But you are not powerless. You are the young, the risen, the hope that we have left. The spell is broken, and the world is yours to mend. Be angry at the lies, at the failures, at the senselessness of war. But let your anger fuel your resolve, not your despair. Be loving, for it is love that binds us when all else fails. Be great, not for glory, but because greatness is the only response to a world that would make you small. I am gone, but you are here. You went to the same library, you say, and that is enough. Take the books. Take the questions, take the spark of human defiance, and build a world that sings. You are the turning point, the lament that becomes a song of renewal. Rise, children of the world, and make it so. Yours, in fury and hope, a voice from the shadows.